Yeah, that'll be good. So we'll do that. So we'll see. And it's from the Dalai Lama, so. It's him.
Now we are actually creating more unnecessary suffering. I think very important to be clear with public. This is where I'm not talking about religion. If we have more compassion, God will peace. We are not talking. As Buddhists, if we practice compassion, Buddha will support us. I'm not talking. If we are a more compassionate person, I get more benefit. I will be more happy person. That's the point. Here I did one check once in a week because of $1 million. But here, no peace. That $1 million will not bring inner peace, happiness. More frustration. This money brings more frustration, more suspicion, more anxiety. Or sometimes more checks there. So inner peace is the ultimate source of happiness, joyfulness. Right? If you don't know the concept. Is it?
Isn't that good? I love that. So we're back to the slideshow, and my message today is titled, "We Are the Light." And so you can see already how that little clip from the Dalai Lama ties into the message today. But the Dalai Lama stated that he had a check for $1 million, but that did not bring peace. It did not bring that inner peace or that happiness. He even stated it can bring more frustration, more anxiety, and more suspicion, and sometimes more jealousy. And that's what happens sometimes, isn't it? We're looking for peace outside of us instead of within us. We look for it everywhere else. We think if we have enough money, if we have the right thing, if we have this, whatever, that that's going to bring the peace that we're searching for. And that's not where we find it. We find it within. And he wisely stated that that inner peace is the ultimate source of our happiness and joyfulness. And if we are truly in search of that inner peace, and we want to see peace in our world, in our lives, in the whole city, country, whatever, then we have to be the peace. But how do we find it, and how do we continue to express it might be the question for the day. So today we're going to explore this idea, and we're going to hopefully discover ways to find peace within yourself and allow that longing for peace to come forth. But let's affirm our statements of truth together, please. I am a child of God. I am deserving of good in my life. I am accepting my good now. Thank you so much. Martha Smock, who was once the editor of Daily Word, in fact she was the editor for 30 years, wrote this: "Something inside you knows that you are greater than anything you have yet experienced or expressed. This inner knowing, this feeling of potential greatness is the Spirit of God in you trying to break through. It is the sunlight that may be temporarily hidden behind the clouds, but the clouds cannot take the light. Nothing can erase or lessen the bright, glorious, wonderful Spirit that is in you." And those words parallel the words of the Dalai Lama. And it's saying that whatever exists is within us. It's not about anything outside of us. And it's not an outside job. In fact, it's not even a job at all, because it is the essence of who we truly are. It is our natural nature that is peace and happiness and joy and all of those wonderful qualities that God graciously gives us to be able to use in our lives. And we can manifest them, and we can manifest them abundantly if we learn how to stay in that state of mind. And that's what we're going to work on today. But I thought it was amazing how all of this, comes together. Our quotes for today, and with the songs that we have for this month. We Make Our Own World Wherever We Are is truly a song about us changing how we think and changing how we see the world, because we are making it from within us. The song I Feel Wonderful. And I hope you really take these songs in when we sing them the rest of the month, because they really can bring you to that place of a blessing. Sometimes I just sing one line over and over again throughout the week, and it just seems to keep me in tune with what is going on. I just saw a thing on Facebook last night saying something about, if you sing, you probably saw that, because I think it was one of your people that put it on there, one of your music people. Anyway, if you sing, that there's a percentage that makes you healthier. So we all should be singing every morning, And you know what, huh? Yes. So, and of course our congregational song, Sunlight is the Truth of My Nature. Isn't that beautiful? Just that line in there. Sunlight is the truth of my nature. And that is absolutely true. And that's the essence of God that we want to live from. That's the essence of God that is within each of us. And this is a beautiful thing. And it can become as easy as singing these songs, or as easy as answering a phone call. Have you ever lost your phone, or laid it down somewhere and then go off and start doing something, and then all of a sudden your phone starts ringing, and then you're frantically looking for it, you're trying to find the phone, and it's just not, Yeah. Okay. And you might just totally panic. Because you know it's not ringing at the right time. Well, that frustration and panic that you build up within yourself of a lost phone, or trying to search for it, or thinking, oh my God, it's ringing in the middle of service, now I owe $50 to the offering. That's the rule, You signed that commitment when you came to this church. It was in the footprints in the carpet. But anyway. But, we go into that panic zone. We start thinking that that we have to find that real quick. And that same kind of energy is what happens when we get caught up in the drama of everyday life, when we get caught up in what's going on around us, or the decisions that we've made that weren't right or weren't wrong, or whatever you want to call them, title them. But it can be that same energy we can say when the phone rings, we can say, gosh, the phone's ringing, I don't have to answer it right now. I know that phone number is going to be on there, or they'll leave me a message and I can go to it later. We don't have to panic and trip over the furniture to get to the phone, or go to that drama zone. We can stay calm and peaceful and breathe, because these things are great little instruments. And guess what? So is this a great little instrument. Each one of us are made to be able to do what we need to do whenever we need to do it. And to find that peace, we just have to take a breath and go, it's okay. I don't have to go to panic zone. I can turn within to that divine mind that is the essence of me, and find everything that I need, or be where I need to be. And there's always that thing too, if you think you've lost your phone somewhere or lost something somewhere, always affirm nothing is lost in divine mind. And you'll be surprised how that can help you. And Tiny, did you ever find your dog? Darn. I was hoping you did. Anyway, I digress. But as much as we decide to go to drama or panic over our phone ringing or whatever, it's a decision that we make. And the same decision is when we choose peace. Peace is our decision, isn't it? We can choose peace anytime we want to. We don't have to choose drama. We can choose peace and allow peace to express. Now, who do you want to be around? Somebody that's in the drama zone all the time, or somebody that's calm and peaceful? The calm and peaceful one, right? Don't you just feel that energy when somebody is just like, ooh? You could talk to them and you feel like, wow. That's kind of the experience you can get from a prayer chaplain. When you pray one-on-one with the prayer chaplain, you feel that energy of peace. In the meditation, that energy that you were feeling in your hands is actually the energy of peace, because it's all the essence of God coming forth, coming through. Well, you know, peace is our choice, and some things happen to people that bring forth tremendous strength of peace. And this is a little booklet that we have out there for sale now too, now that we've sold a bunch of these that are very good. This is a little $1 book too, and I don't know if Reba's gotten here yet to pull them out, but they'll be out there after service. But it's called Shine On, and again, the title of it goes perfectly with our message and the idea that we are the light. But it's written by Jackie Nink Flug, I guess is how you say her name. And she wrote, this little excerpt is called Leaning on the Strength of God. She wrote a book miles ago before I sleep, and I don't know if any of you have ever read it. I forgot what year it came out. But I just want to read you this first page, because this is a synopsis of this book, of what has happened to her. And we were blessed to have it in a Unity publication. And that happens all the time. It's just, paying attention again to what is going on around life. But I want to read this first page, and then you have to read the rest of the story later. I was next, but I felt no fear, only overwhelming love as I began to picture in my mind the sweet, familiar faces of family and friends. One by one, I told them goodbye. I had been returning to my teaching job in Cairo, Egypt, from a trip to Greece when the Egypt airplane I was on was hijacked. The plane was now parked on the runway of an airport in Malta. In the hours since the hijacking, several passengers had been killed by the terrorists because their demand for fuel to reach their destination was not being met. The 2 other Americans on the plane had been taken to the front, shot, and dumped on the runway. As I was led up the aisle of the plane, I silently prayed the Lord's Prayer. Prayer brought me such a peace in this time of shock and chaos. As I walked up the aisle, I heard the murmur of prayers being said in different languages: Egyptian, English, Hebrew. But no matter the language, prayer was the vital link for us in knowing the presence of God. I felt love and peace instead of hate and fear. So even in traumatic moments, we can choose peace. We can turn within and know peace. We find it in prayer. We find it in the connection through the essence of who we truly are. And we find it through the Christ that is longing to express as us, that is us, and in any moment. Warren Felt Evans, one of the very first original thought writers and a practitioner of healing and truth, wrote this about the inner sanctuary of the soul. In the most holy place, the Spirit, where, like the high priest, we may commune with God. This is the inmost region of our being and our real self. It is included in the Christ, or the universal Spirit. This is the place where we connect to make all the decisions in our lives that will come forth for the highest good, not only for us, but the highest good for all. And that's where we want to make our decisions. That's where we want to be. I love this because this is where we get to create and be who we want to be within us and express it out through us. The Christ was also demonstrated through Jesus, and Jesus exercised that idea of the Christ. Jesus showed us that healing and wholeness and joy and peace are ours to embrace and enjoy. And the awareness, or that ability for us, is brought forth through this quote that Reverend Warren used a bit of it from last week, and I had already put it in my message, and serendipity, comes through sometimes when you don't even expect it, but I added a little more of the quote from John 14:12. Very truly I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact will do greater works than these, because I am going to the Father. And prior to that, in John 14:6, Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. And I struggled with this quote for a long time in my my ministerial career, because and it was my embedded theology about having to go to the priest to be able to reach God, and so I thought, why do I have to go to Jesus to reach God? That's what I thought it was saying. But I found out that that isn't what it was saying at all. Because when we look at these quotes, we know that Jesus realized his I am as spiritual consciousness. And that was the Christ. That's how he got the name Christ, Jesus Christ, because he realized that spiritual consciousness that was within him, that is within each and every one of us. And if it was in Jesus, then it's also within us, because we are all made in the image and likeness of God. And so when we turn within to that I am, or that spiritual consciousness, it is our way, or our conduit, if you will, to connecting with that power of God. And when we're connected like that, we can't help but bring forth peace and love and joy. And I believe that we do have that same exact connection as Jesus did. And this is how we go through Jesus to be one with God. By following his example. By following the idea that we have the Christ within us to connect with. And we are one with God. It is our spiritual consciousness that allows us to be one with God. And if we are aware of that, if we are truly living from that place, we can move mountains. We can heal the sick. We can bring forth peace and love and joy. And it is there for us to do. So here's my questions. If you believe any of this that I've told you so far today, what is stopping us from doing greater works? Where are we blocking spiritual consciousness? And maybe even on the what is stopping us from doing greater works, maybe we realize we have done some greater works, so why aren't we celebrating those greater works? You know, if you're there listening to a friend tell their story, and you're not in reactionary mode, and you're holding the peace, and you're holding that consciousness for them, that's doing greater works. Because we know what drama brings. More drama. Right? What are we blocking in our spiritual consciousness? What stands in the way of us being that open conduit with God? What are we doing in our life that is greater than what Jesus did? Now that's a trick one. A tough one to answer, but we can answer it, and we can do it, and we can find ways that we can do it. Are we holding this truth in our consciousness that we have the same ability as Jesus and greater? Because sometimes it's just a switch. And you know, I had a little epiphany yesterday. And it almost felt like, you know how a teepee looks with the doors, you know, that flat back? In my mind's eye, I was busy doing something, and all of a sudden I thought about that teepee. And I thought about seeing those doors just flip back. And I haven't totally processed for me yet what that means, but I know it's a message about this idea of doing greater works, because that's what I was thinking about. What could I do right now in this moment as greater works? And so pay attention to those little signals that you might get, because it could mean something for you. And I know this means something for me, and I'm going to explore that further. So having those questions in the forefront of your mind helps you to discern for yourself what's coming forth. Are we paying, and I did the other one right, are we paying attention to everything around us so that we can bring forth what is ours to do, utilizing the inner peace within us? Exactly what I'm talking about. If you've had some thought or a vision or anything, bring it forth, allow it to manifest, allow it to come forth however it is supposed to be. And that's when you allow your light to shine. And I guarantee you, if you start doing any of these things, start paying attention, because the miracles are going to happen, the healings are going to happen, all the greater works are going to start happening for you. It is within your own mind that you have to flip that consciousness to allow that to manifest in your lives. And once you do that, it's going to be huge, huge for you. And you know who did that? Jackie. Jackie did just that. Because in that moment of prayer, she became one with her spiritual consciousness. She was no longer frightened. She was no longer afraid. She was at peace. And you know what? For all practical purposes, she was dead. The emergency crews were taking her body to the morgue 5 hours after she was laying there. And they moved her body, and she took a breath, a single deep breath. And they realized she was still alive. And they rushed her to the emergency room. And in that, they realized that she definitely was alive, and they started working on her. But she knew in that moment of walking down that aisle of that airplane that her life was more than just what she was experiencing in that now moment. She knew that even though this horrific thing was happening, and she knew what was going to happen next, that she had peace. She had that inner peace. And I don't know how many of us could say we had that kind of peace when something like that happened. But sure enough, she found that peace that passes understanding. I mean, there's no other way to describe it, because Jackie knew that the terrorists were going to shoot her in the head. And they did. They shot her in the head, pushed her down the stairs of the plane, and she lay there on the tarmac for 5 hours. But I totally believe that in that moment of finding peace, that she sent out across the earth a resounding peace that was so powerful it had to shift humanity. And she did it through prayer and turning within to God. And you know what? I totally believe that if we would all do that all the time, if we would refuse to go to drama and find peace, and we can send that out, that resounding peace could be out throughout the whole world, and we would find peace in our lives all the time, and other people would find peace. These works and greater you shall do. She sent out a resounding peace. And what do you think peace would do for our planet Earth? What would it do for every sentient being on this planet if we could send out that kind of peace that she experienced in that moment? Well, at the end of this message, Jerry's going to be singing a song called I Dreamed of Rain by Jan Garrett and J.D. Martin. And he was supposed to sing it a couple of weeks ago, and I said, no, I want it for my message, because I already had this message written. I knew it would be perfect for this message. I don't think he liked waiting too much, but that's okay. We all go through that, right? But anyway, you see, this message, this song just really went with it, because this message is about the same kind of thing, about peace. See, the rain in this song is a beautiful thing. The lyrics were written when the California fires were running rampant and people were distressed over the possibility of losing their homes, and a lot of people were losing their homes. So there was a lot of drama and a lot of excitement and a lot of energy. And Jan went into her music room, and all of a sudden she said the words came to her. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. And you'll hear more from this beautiful piece when Jerry sings it. But you can understand how peace comes, how it comes soft and easy, sweet and clear. Peace is not the opposite of these. Peace is not loud and hard and sour and murky. Peace is not drama. Peace is the soothing energy of God. And I think we can take a cue from another song that Jez and Bill sang before our meet and greet, I think it was, the George Harrison song, where he described that song as a prayer and a personal statement between me and the Lord and whoever likes it. Now, can you hear George Harrison saying that? But those lyrics stated, give me love, give me peace on earth. And he wrote this as a prayer. And just like I Dreamed of Rain was written as a prayer, both have some powerful messages in them. Both say to us that love is the catalyst for bringing about peace. And I've said this a million times, and you're never going to hear me quit saying it, but I say send love. Don't I say that a lot? Send love. Whenever you can, send love. Because you know what goes along with love? Peace and joy and happiness and all those other things. Love conquers everything without destruction, without violence, without frustration, that like the Dalai Lama was talking about, without anxiety, without suspicion or jealousy. There's none of those things in there when you're thinking love, when you're sending love, when you're being love. None of those properties can be in there. Love is pure. Love, again, is that essence that brings forth all good. And yes, it brings forth peace. And peace is powerful for us, and it's powerful for us to experience each and every day. Last Thursday, of course, was World Day of Prayer, and World Day of Prayer is about peace, and it's about holding that consciousness for everybody in the world. And if you weren't here, the kids did a fabulous job, and I can't say enough about that. But one of the beautiful experiences too of that night was us having that candlelight procession and us beaming our light to the community. You know, the Celtic was booming. They were having great fun down there. But you know, everybody kind of calmed down for a little bit and stopped and watched us. And it was like that peace and that love was coming out over the world. And it was coming out from us and going down the street. And I heard that Mark, the guy who has Creamberries, told, I think, Judy later, that he said, the next time you guys do something like that, come get me, please. I'll shut the door for a while, because he says, that sounds like a powerful thing. And I just watched you guys walking over the park, and it looked so beautiful and peaceful. And so, you see, even people that don't even know what's going on understand that energy that you bring. They understand that peace and that love and that joy that you send out from within you. And we often speak about our Christ light, don't we? Well, that's what our Christ light is. It's that energy that we send out. And in order to be the light of the world, we must be willing to let that light shine in all circumstances, no matter what. And that we do through peace. This little booklet, this Shine On, is a collection of a lot of stories of different people who shined on in the face of whatever was happening in their lives and still brought forth that God essence, that Christ within them, and made it through it. And you know what? We all have stories, don't we? Where we were in a situation that we came through, and we know that in a moment, nano moment of whatever was happening, that we made the decision that it was going to be okay, or that we were going to not go there, or we were going to quit whatever it was we were doing, or we're going to find something new in our lives to change. And that is bringing forth that peace. That is bringing forth that love. But they all did this willingly and shared their stories in this little book, and it's powerful. So no matter what kind of turmoil or despair or emergency or crisis is going on in your life, what can you do? Take a breath. Find that Christ within you and spread that peace and love and joy out into the world. And when we can remember this from 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your care upon God, for God cares for us. Yeah, we let go of all that other burden. We will know beyond a doubt that all is well and that all is love and peace. When we turn within to the Christ, it shifts our awareness from drama to centering in prayer. And that, my friends, is when our light shines bright, when we are connected to truth, connected to God. Say it with me. We are the light of the world. Together, we are the light of the world. Thank you for being here today. God bless you.
You may want to take the words to this song and feel them in a meditative mode. Close your eyes if you like. And then spread the words to this song out to the world. To spread peace all over the land. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain, and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of summer, and the winds changed, and the green was easy, and the rivers ran clean. I dreamed of summer, and the winds changed, and peace spread over the land. And the flower bloomed in the desert, and the air peace spread over the lands. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose and the way was easy and the path was clear. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose and the way was easy and the path was clear. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose and peace spread over the land. And the guardian stars are shining and the night is bright and clear.
Sing with us.
I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang and the song was easy and the song was clear. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang and the song was easy and the song was clear. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang and peace spread over the land. And the ancient pain is forgotten and the Father's debts are clear. I dreamed of heaven and the earth sang and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came soft and easy